Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Brome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders, all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to our show number 993. It's July, a special month for many reasons, like southbound migration beginning for lots of shorebirds, Independence Day just observed, and vacation and beach days. And this month is Plastic-Free July, a time to put some extra emphasis on our use and overuse of plastics, especially single-use plastics, which we use for a few minutes maybe. And then, even though they're still as capable of doing their jobs as they were when we removed them from their plastic packaging, we throw them away. And in the great majority of cases, they will not be recycled. They might end up in a methane-spewing landfill, and that might be the good outcome, relatively speaking, because they often end up instead by the millions of tons every year in our oceans as plastic trash. And they'll remain there, injuring birds, fish, and mammals, fatally in many cases, fouling beaches and breaking down into toxin-releasing microplastics and nanoplastics for dozens or even hundreds of years. So a good month to think about the plastics we use and how we can use less. We'll be talking more about Plastic-Free July and other shows this month, including with a special guest from the great organization Beyond Plastics. All right, on to birds. One of the audio postcards we aired last week was from Levi Ziegler in Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm trying to mimic Levi's pronunciation of Saskatchewan. How am I doing, Levi? And this week, thanks to Chrissy Martin, British Columbia, Canada, gets audio postcard equal time. Hello, Chrissy.
Hello, Ray and fellow birders. This is Chrissy Martin in Abbotsford, BC. I am sitting on a pretty highly trafficked road that has wetlands on either side. So we've got a mix of traffic noises, an airplane flying overhead, and of course the birds. I'm hearing song sparrow, Swainson's thrush, black-capped chickadee, common yellowthroat. I had a willow flycatcher a couple minutes ago. Yeah, sounds like summer. Happy birding, everyone.
Thank you, Chrissy. That nice collection of British Columbia birds, including that northern gashawk flying over. Well, if we were to head 536 miles, almost due south from Abbotsford, British Columbia, we'd find ourselves in Grants Pass, Oregon. And that's where Haley Perez and her husband found themselves, as we're about to hear. Take it away, Haley.
Hi, everyone. This is Haley from San Diego. I'm visiting family this week in my hometown of Grants Pass, Oregon. And my husband and I are just out on a trail near the Rogue River. And it is so lush and green, beautiful trees everywhere, lots of mosquitoes, but also so many birds and bird sounds. We're really not seeing that much because they're high up in the trees, but we're just hearing so many wonderful sounds. The Merlin Bird ID app is telling us that there's Steller's jays, acorn woodpeckers, western wood peewees, yellow warblers, yellow-breasted chat, spotted towhees, and all kinds of others. So we're really enjoying the walk, and we've spotted a few birds and definitely heard a lot of them. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Happy birding.
Happy birding to you, Haley, and thanks. A couple of beautiful audio postcards there, and we have room for more. To make one, grab your smartphone or borrow one and record yourself describing the bird or birds you're seeing or listening to. And then send the file you've made to ray@talkingbirds.com. That's Ray at talkingbirds.com.
There's no G in talking.
That's right, and here's our mystery bird. This is a preview of our mystery bird contest. That'll be coming along a little bit later in the show. Today, by the way, a couple of special things. One is that we could actually accept two different answers for the mystery bird on today's contest. We'll explain that later. Also, our winner today will be entered into an extra special drawing for our show number 1000 on the 25th of August for an extra special big prize. So if you win the mystery bird contest today, you could win today's prizes, or you will win today's prizes, and maybe something extra special on that show number 1000 on the 25th of August. It's a salute to another Talkin' Birds ambassador, and the ambassador we're saluting today is...
From somewhere in beautiful downtown Burbank.
That's right, Burbank, California. It's Nick C. Thank you so much, Nick, for becoming a Talkin' Birds ambassador. Our ambassadors are a very special way to help us do what we're trying to do, which is to spread the word about the wonder of birds and the vital importance of conservation. If you'd like to help us by becoming a Talkin' Birds ambassador, please sign up today. We'll send you a batch of our little info cards that you can hand out at your convenience to help spread the word. To do it, just go to talkingbirds.com and click on the Get Involved tab at the top of the homepage. That's at talkingbirds.com. Our guest today was to have been the director of the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival, Luke Safford. Unfortunately, Luke is under the weather today, and he won't be able to join us, but we do want to pass on some details about this marvelous festival, so here we go. It's the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival in Tucson, Arizona. Runs from Wednesday, August 7th to Sunday, August 11th, and features many field trips. They're in one of the birdiest places in North America. And just as the second spring begins there and brings many more spectacular birds with it, well, the festival will offer fabulous speakers, workshops on bird photography, digiscoping, and backyard birding, along with special presentations about birding in Panama and the International Women's Birding Conference in Uganda. Some activities are already sold out, but many still available, so it's a good idea to get on board as soon as possible for this really amazing festival. It's the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival. The dates again are August 7th through August 11th. You can get all the details on Tucson Audubon's website, tucsonaudubon.org. That's tucsonaudubon.org. Well, on a show back in January, our guest was the great wildlife ecologist and conservationist Doug Tallamy, who told us about his wonderful and important book called Nature's Best Hope. It's one of our favorite interviews of the year, and we'll revisit that chat with Doug just ahead on today's show. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for a Let's Ask Mike segment, almost live from the archive, in which Mike answers a listener's question about feeding fledgling orioles. And up next, speaking of Arizona, a strong-willed and strong-billed southwestern species is today's Talkin' Birds featured feathered friend. Well, in honor of today's special guest from Southeast Arizona, we're featuring a bird that is found in not many places in the U.S. besides Arizona. It's a feisty flycatcher, the thick-billed kingbird. This large flycatcher with brownish-gray upper parts, dark head, black mask, grayish-white throat and breast, pale yellow belly and undertail coverts, and large black bill, is a bold and aggressive bird that will even attack raptors that trespass on its territory. The thick-billed kingbird breeds mostly where sycamore trees and cottonwoods grow, along streams and canyons and lowlands, and it feeds by sallying out from a perch to grab large insects like grasshoppers, cicadas, and beetles. It's known for making a big show after each prey-capturing flight, quivering its wings, erecting its head feathers and vocalizing loudly. The thick-billed kingbird, whose main territory is in Mexico, wasn't officially discovered in the U.S. until 1958 in Guadalupe Canyon on the Arizona-New Mexico border, and it has expanded northward since, although still seen mostly in Arizona. A group of kingbirds is collectively known as a coronation, a court, or a tyranny of kingbirds. Tyrannus crassirostris, today's featured feathered friend, the thick-billed kingbird. Welcome again to our show, palindromically numbered 969. Dr. Doug Tallamy is an entomologist, ecologist, and conservationist. He's a professor in the Department of Entomology and Wildlife Ecology at the University of Delaware. He's written and co-authored several books, including the one we'll talk with him about today, called Nature's Best Hope, a new approach to conservation that starts in your yard. And he joins us right now to tell us about it. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Ray. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm well, thank you. It's great to have you. And before we get out to the yard, I wonder if you'd tell us a bit about how two particular conservation heroes, Aldo Leopold and E.O. Wilson, stimulated your ideas and inspired you to write this book and probably others.
Of course, Aldo Leopold, many consider the father of modern conservation. He recognized that we were not treating the land very well. He talked about developing a land ethic, where he really was saying we need to treat our local ecosystems in a sustainable way. Now, mostly he focused on agriculture and places other than where we lived. So the only thing I'm doing is taking the Aldo Leopold land ethic to the places we live, where we work, where we play. E.O. Wilson, of course, another giant in conservation. Way back in 1987, he told us that insects are the little things that run the world, and if they disappear, so will we and everything else. Mm-hmm. He spent most of his career trying to convince us that we need to end the war on insects and conserve biodiversity across the land. The latest thing he did was his Half Earth book, 2016, where he said, if we're going to save life anywhere, we need to save nature on behalf of planet Earth. And, of course, that's a very bold statement.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, Aldo Leopold, we did celebrate the 125th anniversary of his birth just earlier this week. Well, picking up on what you just said, Doug, about E.O. Wilson, you have a name for your idea reflecting his, and I wonder if you'd read a short paragraph about that from your book.
Sure, happy to. What if each American landowner made it a goal to convert half of his or her lawn to productive native plant communities? Even modern success could collectively restore some semblance of ecosystem function to more than 20 million acres of what is now ecological wasteland. How big is 20 million acres? It's bigger than the combined areas of the Everglades, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Grand Tetons, Canyonlands, Mount Rainier, North Cascades, Badlands, Olympic, Sequoia, Grand Canyon, Denali, and the Great Smoky Mountains National Parks. We restore the ecosystem function of these 20 million acres, we can create the country's largest park system. It gives me the shivers just to write about it. But because so much of this park will be created at home, I suggest we call it Homegrown National Park.
Homegrown National Park. I love the sound of that. Well, most of our yards are a little small to be called national parks, and many people might feel their yard is so small that whatever they might do there to enhance biodiversity is just insignificant. But you point out in the book that for the most part, our yards are not isolated islands, but are connected to another yard, which is connected to another yard, and so on. I wonder if you'd expand on that idea a little bit by showing how important the way we treat our little corners can be.
That's right. We've got parks and we've got preserves, but they're isolated habitat fragments. And in between those parks and preserves are private property. So what we're trying to do with Homegrown National Park is enlist an army of millions of property owners who are going to just worry about their little piece of the earth. But if we do it collectively, we will be successful in connecting those isolated habitats. We're going to create viable habitat right in our yards. And remember, in terms of migrating birds, they do pick out isolated habitats. They're migrating. They'll stop even in a single tree if it's producing the insects that they need.
What would you say is step one in turning our yards into homegrown national parks?
I always talk about shrinking the lawn. We've got 44 million acres of lawn in this country. That's an area the size of New England. If each of us cut that area, reduce it at all, but I talk about cutting it in half. That's where we're going to get the area that we can create Homegrown National Park in. We're going to reduce the area of lawn, but not eliminate it, because lawn is a part of our culture. And the lawn we keep will be manicured. We call it a cue for care. But we're going to restrict it to the areas where we walk. Turf grass is the perfect plant to walk on without killing it. So line your driveway, line the new beds you put in your yards with grass. And then your local ordinances are not going to come down on you. They say, okay, you get it. You get the culture. You just have more plants in your yard.
What a beautiful and practical idea. Well, your research assistant, Kimberly Shropshire, got some financial support from the U.S. Forest Service and created a huge database, which has become the basis of National Wildlife Federation search tool called the Native Plant Finder, that we can use by entering our zip code into the appropriate address, so we'll know what kind of plants make sense for where we are. Tell us a bit more about that.
Hey, well, we've long known that native plants are much better at supporting the insect communities that support the birds and everything else compared to non-native plants. But what we didn't realize is that there's a huge variation among our native plants. Some are much better at producing those insects than other plants. So what Kimberly did was go to the literature and look up host plant records for caterpillars, which are the bread and butter of terrestrial food webs. And she ranked every plant genus in the country. So the Native Plant Finder allows you to put in your zip code, and the most productive plants in your county will pop up no matter where you live in the country. So the old excuse of I don't know what to plant, that's gone. Now we do know what to plant.
NWF for National Wildlife Federation, nwf.org/Native Plant Finder. Doug Tallamy is the author of the wonderful book we've just been talking about, Nature's Best Hope, a new approach to conservation that starts in your yard, and the young reader's version of that book now available as well. Doug, thank you for your wonderful writings, and thanks for being on the show with us.
Well, you're quite welcome.
And one quick other thing, too, that is this website for following Doug, and this one's easy to remember, I think, homegrownnationalpark.org. Doug Tallamy with us here on Talking Birds, and up next, our Mystery Bird contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. Well, there's our mystery bird. And in the excitement about the special prizes today and the extra special prizes that our winner today will have a chance at on our show 1000, somebody at this microphone forgot to give the clues about the mystery bird as a preview. But we'll do it now and very intensely. Our mystery bird is the largest member of the accipiter family. close to 2 feet in length, with a wingspread about 3.5 to 4 feet. It's bluish gray on the head, back, and upper wings, with a dark cap and cheek patch, and a white eyebrow stripe. Our bird feeds on squirrels and ground-dwelling birds, which it snatches from above, attacking through dense cover, and sometimes chasing down its prey on the ground. It's found year-round all across Canada and most of Alaska, and down through the western U.S. It winters through much of the southwest and central U.S. Some clues there, the sound of our mystery bird. Now, as prizes, a big bag of our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, and truly delicious Birds and Beans coffee, grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat for birds. And our other prize is a $25 gift certificate for Bird Collective, your one-stop shop for vintage-inspired apparel and unique accessories, all featuring birds. Check them out at birdcollective.com. And as we mentioned a little while ago, our winner today will also be eligible in a very special drawing we'll do on our show number 1000 on the 25th of August. So tell us what that bird is or take your guess, because as always, no correct answer means a drawing will determine our winner on our contest today. Here's the number to call as soon as you can, we hope, at 781-837-4900. We get calls at the end and past the end of the show just about every week. We would like to avoid that, so we urge that call as soon as you can. 781-837-4900 is the number. Meanwhile, Let's Ask Mike, almost live from the archive. Let's Ask Mike with Mike O'Connor in just 1 minute.
Welcome to a world where bird feeding is enjoyable for both you and your feathered friends. Introducing Squirrel Buster Bird Feeders by Brome. Our innovative feeders are designed to keep squirrels at bay, ensuring that your garden birds get their fair share. And the best part? We offer lifetime care for every feeder, making your purchase worry-free. Transform your garden into a bird paradise and keep it that way forever. Sorry, squirrels, it's just for the birds this time. Visit Brome.com, BROME.com, to discover our full range of Squirrel Buster feeders and join the Brome family today. Brome, where birds come first, and our commitment to you lasts a lifetime.
Down to the legendary Birdwatchers General Store. Ever hear of it? Of course you have. That's why it's legendary. It's there in Cape Cod. And also down there would be Mike O'Connor, who started the whole thing down there. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, back. That was a long time ago, Ray.
Look what you started. Didn't I? I attended your anniversary party down there, and I think it was your 25th.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was about 25 years ago. Well, Mike, let's see. Do I remember this correctly? We talked about orioles recently and feeding them peas. Did I get that right? And you were kind of down on that idea?
Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah.
Okay.
Orioles like peas, like a lot of people like peas. Not so much.
Not that much. Not like they like lima beans and stuff like that. That they really like. But you got a note here. Heidi sent this note anyway, but it was addressed to you. It says, "Hi, Mike. I listen to you all the time and Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds. I was hoping you could give me some advice. I'm in Wisconsin, but it looks like I just had a fledgling oriole come to my backyard feeder. We don't currently have oranges out. We're the family that called from vacation in New Mexico, but now we're home. So the food we have out is a lot of fruit and nut mix. Can you please advise me on the best food to put out for this fledgling oriole? Should I get some mealworms or an orange?"
Yeah, okay. Most people for Orioles, I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, they used to put out oranges, they put out sugar water like a hummingbird feeder, that works fine, and recently a lot of people are putting out grape jelly, which seems to be working, although it curls some people's toes. They go, jelly? That sounds like a filler. It's not good. Yeah. But the birds actually eat a lot of fruit, and they feed a lot of fruit to their babies, so it's not that bad of a thing. So that's not a big deal. But what I've never done is offer mealworms. A lot of people use mealworms to feed baby bluebirds. They have a nest of bluebirds. They put out mealworms, and there's not a lot we can do to attract bluebirds, but they put out mealworms, and they'll feed the babies the live mealworms. And I've never really tried it because I don't have any bluebirds or ever had any bluebirds. They hate me for some reason. So when I got Heidi's note, I thought, okay, let's try this. So I put out the jelly, and the Orioles came. Then I put out a dish of mealworms, and the male came right over, grabbed a couple of, well, a beakful, not a couple of beaksfuls, but several mealworms, flew right off into the trees, and you could hear the babies squawking up there. They were fledglings. They weren't nestlings. They were fledglings. They were flying in the trees, and he kept feeding them. The female came. She saw what was going on, and she landed, but apparently she hadn't got a good meal in a long time. So she just sat and chowed down on them. The female does all the incubation and a lot of the feeding, and she probably, was a little hungry after all that. So the male did most of the feeding in this case, but they readily came. And then I put them both out, jelly and mealworms. And the birds use them both fairly equally. They like them both. So yes, Heidi, I wouldn't get the fruit and nut mix. Birds don't really like that dried fruit, even though it seems like they do. But I would use oranges is fine, but I would use grape jelly or mealworms. They're a little bit more expensive, and I would definitely do that. Keeping them in the shade, keep mealworms in the shade. You could put them in a cup, but they don't like the heat, the sun, direct sun that much. But definitely they will come. And I think that's a good idea, especially if you want to help feed the babies. And it's kind of fun watching the parents feed the babies. So that's actually an excellent idea, Heidi. So, yeah, I tried it, and it worked. And, even in Wisconsin, so it should work perfectly.
Another top-quality solution. But what about, could you dip the mealworms into the grape jelly?
I've seen them do that. Yeah, I've heard people say that. Yeah, they do it. It's delicious. And next week, Ray, we got a surprise nesting bird in my yard I got to talk about.
Oh, yeah, I know a little bit about that. It's pretty cool and exciting. Next week, right here on Let's Ask Mike. We'll talk to you then, Mike.
Yeah, there's a little teaser. Stay tuned for that excitement.
All right, Mike O'Connor, almost live from the archive there, talking about a little help for Heidi. And we have a little coincidence here. Heidi from Wisconsin. We have a Heidi from Wisconsin on the line, and I have a feeling it might be the same Heidi that Mike had just talked about. Good morning, Heidi.
Morning, Ray. Yeah, I think it might be me. I think that sounds like an old letter from a summer or two ago.
That's right.
I think that could be me.
Yeah, so how did that advice work out?
I really don't see my Orioles a lot right now. Oh. And being summer, we've got such a plethora of insects.
Yeah.
Yesterday we had a hummingbird moth in our yard. We were so excited.
Very cool.
But I feed the birds on holidays and Sundays. So I make sure they always have access to clean water. Nice.
Okay. So you won't have to write that book, Why Do Orioles Hate Me? Which would be a spin-off from Mike's book. Anyway, we're at the Mystery Bird contest here, Heidi, and this is the sound. That's what that is. It's the sound of the bird. And maybe you heard the clues and all that, and you'll have a chance to win some beautiful prizes and be eligible for another prize on our show, number 1,000. What do you think our bird is here?
The goshawk, known either as the northern goshawk or the American goshawk.
Yeah, we said we would take either one, so it's a goshawk and now called the American goshawk. Yeah, formerly the northern goshawk. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, they split those. So the one in Europe they call the Eurasian goshawk, Europe and Asia, and here the American goshawk. Beautifully done, Heidi, and we are out of time, and thank you, and Jesse will take your info if you'll stay on the line.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you,
Have a
Heidi.
great day.
Thanks, you too. Heidi correctly identifying the American goshawk, formerly northern goshawk. Next week, do you wish your kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews would stop being exposed to exhaust pollution from their school bus? If your answer is yes, you'll love what next week's guest is doing to help make that wish come true. Thanks for being with us. See you next week.
Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
And by Vortex Optics with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And by Brome, where bird feeding meets innovation. Discover truly squirrel-proof bird feeders, all backed by lifetime care commitment. Learn more at brome.com.